So I was, at the front entrance of Camp Slenderwood, the beginning of a 7-day-long prison sentence had begun. I never was into the outdoors. I much preferred staying inside browsing the internet. The only reason I was there in the first place was because my parents wanted some privacy to do their taxes, and I was almost 18. And I knew what they really meant. And I really knew what that really meant. I figured it would be better to just go with the plan and than ever for a long time. Still, I hadn't admit myself to that the camp didn't look particularly unpleasant. The weather was nice, the trees were flat, fresh, and filled green. And there was a crystal clear lake near one of the cabins. I really couldn't complain. I figured it would be at least tolerable to say that, even without a Wi-Fi connection. I decided I would give it a fair chance and keep it an open mind about the few new experiences. In the middle of the camp, between the lunch benches, was a stage with a mustache man wearing a cap Slenderwood t-shirt. Dozens of campers had already begun to surround the stage while the man yelled through the microphone. "Welcome to Camp Slenderwood, kids," he shouted. "My name is Elwood Dorsey. But you can all call me Elwood. I'm the owner of this place, and I live here all season to help run this camp and answer any questions. We had an amazing turnout this week. There are 64 teens here ready to learn what it means to survive." I wondered to myself what he meant by survive. There was nothing in the brochure about being a survivalist camp. We were supposed to be provided sleeping quarters and 3 meals throughout the day. I was going to be expected to hunt a bull or something? Come on. I figured he must be exaggerating and let the thought go through a few minutes. "We've already assigned everyone to the cabins," El continued. "Just grab your camp ID cards from Lexi over there and she will point you in the right direction." He pointed to a pretty blonde in her 20s who was also wearing a Camp Slenderwood t-shirt. She looked cheerful, almost too overly cheerful. She was waving ID cards in her hand enthusiastically. Kids began rushing over to Lexi to grab their ID cards and get their assigned cabins. I followed as well. I turned to the rest of Elwood's speech with any luck. I'd find someone to spend the 7 days with and just felt as if out of place as I did. Especially not long after that, I bumped into a quiet-looking guy that looked really quiet, trying unsuccessfully to load up my favorite form to his phone. His name is Ryan, and we hit it off instantly. Spending most of the day talking about how dorky all the camp supervisors looked. They were all over the top friendly and seemed to care a little too much about what kind of day everyone was having. 2 counselors had already asked me if something was wrong when I hadn't finished all my Salisbury steak, and one of them even offered me a cold medicine when I cleared my throat. The only worker there seemed to be normal was Mr. Todd, the cafeteria supervisor and cook. He wasn't quite as talkative, but at least he didn't constantly patronize us. Brian and I wound up getting separated after dinner. I got to know a few more campers at that point, as well to see the camp supervisors put on a show and dance with no background music. When I got to my cabin that night, I was disappointed to see that Brian was not in the same one. There were 3 campers inside who apparently were my roommates. They seemed like alright guys, but none of them talked much, and I didn't either before going to sleep. I was actually excited about what was in store for the next day. Morning came very quickly, and it wasn't long before I found Brian sitting near the cafeteria. The visitors were less full than yesterday. It was strange, but it was still early. At first, I thought most of the campus were still in bed, but by late afternoon, it felt like half of them were missing. I went to Mr. Todd and asked him if all the kids had come for breakfast and lunch. Mr. Todd shook his head and plopped a burger on my plate. I couldn't shake the feeling that something odd was going on. Everything felt more than active yesterday. There were only a couple of people circling Camp Slenderwood Puppet Show, and even fewer were spread out in the woods area. I became more suspicious when I realized that there was a good amount of campers who were still missing by dinner time. What was going on here? I wish I had gotten to know everyone better the first day, so I could figure out who was here and who wasn't. When I got back to my cabin, all three of my roommates were already inside. It comforted me a little to see all of them. Perhaps I just made a mistake. I started to check with them to see if they had noticed anything strange. To my surprise, they just shrugged my question off and acted like they didn't know what I was talking about. Was I making myself go crazy? How could over 30 kids just up and vanish without a trace, or without anyone saying anything? The thought was ridiculous, and I laughed about it to myself as I fell into a deep sleep. Sunday things got even weirder. I guess my nerves were pretty worked up. Because I woke up a little before daylight. The camp looked much more foreboding than in the darkness, but some of the trees wrapped around the sky until all you could see were shrouds, and even creepier than the fact that I could see the camp supervisors standing in a circle outside. I couldn't tell what was going on, but several of them were hunched over awkwardly. The sight was unsettling, and I quickly hid away from the window so they wouldn't see me. It was at that point I realized two of my roommates were not in the cabin. I had seen them go to bed that night, but the beds were fully made and the belongings were nowhere to be found. Out of panic, I woke up and my remaining roommate to get some answers. When I told my roommates were gone, he just stared at me and said he had no roommates before going back to sleep. When day came, I left the cabin to investigate. Now, there were only one or two kids near the cafeteria, but none of them seemed alarmed in any way. I kept repeating what my remaining roommate said to me in my head. Was he playing some kind of sick joke on me? Camp supervisors were acting completely normal, but I didn't dare ask them anything. I started asking around every kid I could find what the campus were, and each time they said there were only 16 of us. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. There were definitely more than 16 campers the first day. Elwood had said there were 64. They were all abducted. Some of us were during the night. If so, what? Why was I the only one who could remember anything? Something was right here, and I had to figure out what it was. I was beyond relieved to find Brian about at least there was one person here who would listen to me. When I got to him, I frankly started explaining everything that I had seen. The more I told him, the more concerned his expression got. By the time I finished, he was actually sweating, and he had completely lost contact with me. I don't know what you're talking about, he said blankly. There were only 16 of us that registered today. Maybe you just got confused when the families were here. Brian was staring at the ground so hard you'd think there was a snake there. My heart sank as I realized I couldn't trust him anymore. I had never felt so lonely and completely alone. I heard something in the wood. I got up and left. I was walking in the fog, not even aware of where I was headed. Fear and dread was beginning to take over me. I had to find some place to hide. Eventually I wandered back to my cabin, where I stayed on my covers for the remainder of the day. I didn't know what else to do, so I lay there, helpless, until I miraculously drifted to sleep. I wasn't surprised at all when I woke to see my cabin completely empty. Sure enough, the few campers I managed to track down believed there were only 8 of us. This was far too much for me to handle. My survival instincts were beginning to kick in. I made sure that no one was looking, and I darted as fast as I could towards the exit of the camp. I was surrounded by at least 70 miles of wilderness, but it was better than just waiting to disappear. But they must have been watching me, because I was intercepted within less than a minute by Elwood and 3 supervisors. Elwood had a huge smile on his face and was staring at me with his eyes wide open. "What the red light? Where are you running off to?" "I'd sure have hell for you to pay from your parents if I lost one of only 8 campers." His voice changed. "How?" An impulse told me to fight. I knew I was being outnumbered. He started closing in on me, closing me back up slowly. Suddenly, Elwood stopped. "I know what you need." He smiled ominously at me. "You need to play some charades with us. Come on. This must stop." Feeling trapped and violated, I reluctantly agreed and followed him to the bench area. I played charades all day, feeling sick as I pushed down my anxiety for help. I didn't sleep at all that night. I didn't look out the window either. I didn't think I could handle seeing any more late night gatherings by my prison guards. When the morning of the 5th day came, I felt hungover from stress. My eyes were sunken in and my skin felt dry. There were now only 4 campers left, which didn't even make sense anymore. As I got my breakfast, I looked up at Mr. Todd and remembered how he had been only one that I felt was normal. Now, I was thinking about it. I didn't see him in a circle of supervisors outside either. He was my only chance, so I really quietly whispered to him, "Mr. Todd, please help me. They're going to take me if you don't do something." Mr. Todd didn't look up at me, but I could see him trying hard to keep his composure. His eyes looked like they were slightly watering, and he was shaking. It reminded me of the way Brian reacted when I reached out to him. "If you need to talk, come see me by the lake this afternoon." He smiled after what felt like an eternity. I could tell by the way he said that he wanted to end the conversation for now, so I quickly headed out to eat. I waited by the lake for one entire day, but Mr. Todd never showed up. I waited until dark, and when the supervisor him and escorted me back to my cabin. I felt defeated, and due to not having slept for 2 days, I felt exhausted. I fell asleep within minutes and enjoyed the temporary peace. It was 16 now. The week was almost over. I wondered to myself if I would survive it. Come on, of course I would. It made me appreciate the speech Elwood gave the first day. He hadn't been exaggerating when he said I would learn what it meant to survive. I knew that if somehow made it through this, it would be a miracle. So I just want Mr. Todd was not in the cafeteria serving breakfast anymore. There was a new cook. It was Mrs. Beardsley. He had never heard Mr. Todd. It was only down to 2 campers, but what really shocked me was that the only camper besides me was Brian. I asked for Brian since he had lied to me. I still felt uneasy about him, but I was beginning to accept him that there may be nothing more I could do. Perhaps as a way to make peace with my situation, I sat down with Brian and we began to talk. You may be hiding something from me, but you're the closest thing I have to a friend. I don't want to try to force the truth out of you. I just want one last thing to enjoy it. Can you give me that? Brian looked at me. His eyes lighted up a little bit. I knew you'd come around. There's no need to be depressed during your whole vacation. The 2 of us have talked about Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi shows and website design for the rest of the day. I actually felt some comfort taking my mind off my grim reality. I wake up through the day and with a heavy heart. I knew Brian would be gone, and I would just be there with the supervisors. My parents were due to pick me up early tomorrow, so I couldn't completely let the hope of getting home. I felt genuinely spooked walking around camp. The workers were all fixated on me and staring at me, obviously. They kept calling me their favorite little camper, which was strange, and tried to put on a show. I'm not sure why. The new cook still made all the meals in bulk, but just with the food, he didn't believe in seeing it out to rot. I tried jogging as a distraction, but Elle would just follow me around, just behind me, and compliment me on my form. I was thankful that the sun was finally went down, and I was left alone in my cabin. There was no way I was falling asleep tonight. I couldn't risk just being interrupted, just like the others. I was drinking from a mug of coffee that I got from the cafeteria. I was supposed to feel energized quickly, but it felt like it was making me tired than anything. I drank more to try to wake up, but it all made my eyelids feel heavier. Something was in that coffee. Something was. Welcome to Slenderwood, I wish I through his microphone. We have a great turnout this year. 64 teens have come to learn what it means to survive. I didn't see anything for sure like that. A freckled-faced kid whispered to another camper in the crowd. You don't think it has anything to do with that missing kid from last year, do you? No, this place is totally safe. Then Kim answered back. By the way, I'm Brian.